Hey Capricorn, this is your look at the astrology of March 2021. My name is Katie Sweetman and I'm an astrologer here in Brooklyn, New York, and this is Empowering Astrology. So let's look at March. March for the most part is Pisces season. So the sun is in your sign of communication, voice, how you speak, how you learn, how you listen. I think that Capricorn people don't realize just how intuitive you are. Pisces is a very intuitive sign. With Jupiter, the ruler of Pisces, over in Aquarius, you're kind of coming out of this time where it's been so much about your material life and sort of looking at these deeper themes around value and worth. And so this sort of Pisces season might touch on these deeper things around value and worth, especially the value of your voice, the value of your mind, the value of what you have to say. Maybe you are taking more classes this Pisces season, or maybe you're teaching some classes. Nevertheless, sort of the bigger news as the months start is that Mars goes into Gemini. So since January 6th, Mars was in Taurus, which is your sign of self-expression, creativity, being able to, really know who you are, what's your identity. So I think the first, 5-6 weeks of this year was about really getting you back to you. And, you did have a really rough 2020, quite possibly. If you're a Capricorn and it was great, just let me know. It's always nice to know. But for the most part, Capricorn probably had a little bit of a hard year. So I think Mars was helping you get back to yourself. That said, with Mars going into Gemini on March 3rd, Gemini is your sign of work, projects, taking care of yourself, sort of the detailed minutia of day-to-day living. It's your schedule. It's the foods you eat and the nutrition and fitness. So with Mars going to that part of the chart, it tells us that probably for the next 5-6 weeks, you're going to be working a lot. You're going to be needing to take care of the details. Gemini can be a little scattered. So how do you sort of come up with a schedule? How do you kind of get things back in order and alignment? And I know if you're thinking like, well, I don't want to work more, Katie. I don't know what to tell you. Work smarter, not harder. I think that at the root of Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn is your sign, Capricorn, is to create new systems that actually promote harmony and balance. So if the old system is where you would work yourself crazy or work yourself to the bone, in pursuit of some sort of lofty goal or achievement, or maybe even the pursuit of somebody else's script around achievement, which maybe you're realizing that maybe this is not my script. Maybe I actually want to achieve something else. So maybe you're using Mars and Gemini to actually take action and to create these new systems and put them and to implement them. So if you previously had a schedule that just was really out of balance and not promoting the best health and wellness, for example, how do you create a new schedule? How do you create new initiatives? That said, Mars traditionally, when it does come to this part of the chart, you are busy. And Mars in general is just very busy energy. So you're going to be busy this month, Capricorn. The other news, like I said, is Pisces season, but we're going to have a Pisces new moon on March 13th. So it's a little bit of, kind of late in Pisces season, this new moon, which means that we're carrying over the Pisces energy into April, of all things. But this Pisces new moon is really this new time to focus on your voice, education, ideas, information, the mind, even your intuitive mind. In normal times, this would be one of your travel seasons, because, whether it's short trips around town or kind of going on like not too long distance road trips, but that's a little bit difficult to do at the moment. Obviously do what's right for you, but just putting that out there. So with, again, Jupiter, the ruler of this new moon in Aquarius, and it's kind of a little bit close to Saturn, this new moon is also highlighting choices. How are you really making the right choices? How are you discerning the right choices? And how do you know the value of the right choice? Because some of the choices that you're making during this time are sort of setting up things for the rest of the year. So it's, in a way, choose wisely with this new moon. The next day or 2 days after this new moon, on March 15th, Mercury, speaking of choice, Mercury will join everything in Pisces. It'll be in Pisces for the rest of the month. Again, it's a good time to check in with your intuition. Make sure you're listening to your gut, your hunches, that even though something looks good on paper or makes sense in paper, maybe it's not for you. Maybe it needs a little bit more due diligence or discernment, or just kind of going through the fine print a little bit. But as we go into March 20th, the sun goes into Aries. Now, Aries is your sign of home and family. So it's not just the start of the astrological year. Aries is the first time. It sort of brings this energy of renewal and vitality to your home environment. So this is typically a time frame going into April when it's time to move, time to make changes in the home, spring cleaning, spring refresh, spending more time with family, for example, maybe even starting your own family, for example. So do keep in mind that when Venus goes into this part of the chart, you're kind of pulling back a little bit from work. Maybe you're needing to sort of recalibrate and sort of figure out what your next moves are. But with Venus there, maybe you're creating beauty in the home. Venus loves a beautiful, harmonious home. But as we go towards the end of the month, we have a Libra, speaking of Venus, we have a Libra full moon on March 28th. So this Libra full moon is in your career sign. Yeah, Libra is your career sign. And full moons, they demand action. They demand decisions. They sort of make us see things for what they really are. So this full moon puts the spotlight on your professional life. Maybe it's time to go in a different direction. Maybe you're hearing about a position that you've been interviewing for. Maybe you're ready to start a new job. Maybe you're ready to go in a different direction. With Venus down at the bottom of your chart, there is some highlight or dynamic that's happening between home or your inner life versus career and your professional or outer life. And maybe you're trying to figure out what the balance is, like what's the right decision. Like if you're making some changes in your professional life, how does that affect your home life, for example? Maybe it's bringing up a lot of deeper questions around safety, stability. Like, can I do this? Will I still be stable? Will I still be safe? Venus will make something called a conjunction to Chiron. Chiron has been in this part of your chart since 2018, 2019, I believe. And Venus with Chiron, there's a pain point that's being activated. And maybe there's some deeper story around you and who you are, and do you feel safe, and do you have the courage to be who you are, and how does that impact your professional life and the direction your life takes, and the duties and responsibilities and the ambitions that you have. So this is kind of like a full moon that's sort of tugging on the four corners of your life. So as you go into the end of the month and even into April, it's a kind of a little bit more of a dynamic time in your personal astrology. Let's also keep in mind that new moon, that's two weeks before the full moon on March 13th, is crossing some eclipse degrees. And as we get to the middle of the month, it may bring forward, activate some of this eclipse energy that was seeded back in November, December. We had a solar eclipse on December 17th at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. So this new moon in Pisces on March 13th is maybe bringing some of these kind of deeper questions around faith and truth and meaning and existential questions forward. And maybe you're like, well, I know that this is the path that I'm supposed to be on, but what does my internal self say? What is my inner truth? Am I listening to my body, my being, and how do I reconcile those two things? So lots to think about this month, Capricorn. Again, my name is Katie Sweetman. This is Empowering Astrology. You can follow me online at empoweringastrology.com. You can follow me on Instagram, IGTV. I'm Empowering Astro, Twitter, Facebook, Empowering Astrology. I hope to see you all next month. Have a wonderful March, and I will see you in April. Bye.